Audiolingual Method, presented by Guarda Lenabal P, Gallo Mary Novem, Tampus Chanin, and Zamora Kimberly K. Learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, learners will be able to: first, define audiolingual method. Second, identify the characteristics of audiolingual method. Third, practice and perform speech or conversation considering the appropriate techniques. Fourth, give the advantage and disadvantage of audiolingual method.
Good morning, class. I am teacher Lenabal P. Guarda, and today we are going to discuss all about the audiolingual method. So anyone from the class who has an idea if what is audiolingual method? Yes, Catherine? Very good. Let's give Catherine a wonderful clap. 1, 2, 3, wonderful. So class, an audiolingual method, this is a teaching foreign language based on behaviorist theory. So this method is originally or was initially called the Army method with an outbreak of the World War II. So class, an audiolingual method, this is an oral-based approach which drills students to use grammatical sentences patterns. And this is a foreign language teaching which emphasizes teaching of listening and speaking before reading and writing. So class, an audiolingual method uses dialogues as the main form of language presentation and drills as the main training techniques. So the use of dialogues and drills are effective in foreign language teaching because they lead the students to create or produce speech. In ALM, no native language in the classroom, so mother tongue is discouraged in the classroom, and actions, pictures, and relia are used to give meaning. And also, the ALM emphasizes spoken language. So now class, we are done defining the audiolingual method. So let's move on to the rules of the teacher and the students in an audiolingual method. So anyone from the class who has an idea if what is an audiolingual method or the rules of the teacher and the student in an audiolingual method? Yes, Carlo. Very good. Let's give Carlo 3 claps. 1, 2, 3. Anyone? Yes, James? Very good. Let's give James a happy clap. 1, 2, 3. Happy. So, the rules of the teacher and the students are the following. So let's first talk about the rules of the teacher in an audiolingual method. So first, teacher plays an active role. Second, they are the orchestral leader. Third, they are the director or the controller of the student's behavior. And the last rule of the teacher is that they are the modeler of imitation. So now let's move on to the rule of the student. Yes, Joyce. Very good. Let's give Joyce a wonderful clap. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. So the student's rule is, first, they plays a passive role. Second, they are the follower of the direction. Third, they are the imitator of the teachers. So now that we are done discussing about the audiolingual method, its definition, and the rules of teachers and the students, now let's move on to the characteristics of the audiolingual method.
Hello, good day everyone. This is Teacher Novem, and today we will have our new discussion which is about characteristics of audiolingual method. But before that, what is audiolingual method? Okay, Janine? Yes, you are very right. So, generally speaking, audiolingual method speaks or focuses about oral skills, which aims to improve students' speaking achievement. And audiolingual method was widely used in the 1950s and 1960s. And the emphasis was not on the understanding of words, but rather on the acquisition of structures and patterns in common everyday dialogue. The audiolingual method, or also known as the Army method, was developed to build communicative competence in very intensive language courses focusing on oral and oral skills. So, I told you to read in advance the characteristics of audiolingual method. So this time, I'm gonna ask you what are some of the characteristics of audiolingual method? Yes, Belle? Very good. Patterns drills are used as an important technique and essential part of this method for language teaching and learning. Yes, another? Yes, Jasmine, you're raising your hand. Very good. There is dependence on mimicry, memorization of phrase, and overlearning. Another? Okay, Mulan. Yes, there is little or no grammatical explanation because grammar is taught inductively. Another hand. Yes, Aurora. Very brilliant! Dialogues are the chief means of presenting language items, which they provide the learners an opportunity to practice, mimic, and memorize bits of language. Wow! Excellent! Your answers are all correct. So let's give everyone a round of applause. So each skill, the listening, speaking, reading, and writing, is treated and taught separately. The skills of writing and reading are not neglected, but the focus throughout remains on listening and speaking since we are talking about the audiolingual method. So for your assignment, please proceed to your book and open on page 10 and answer the questions that follows. So class, thank you for your active participation for today. God bless. See you on Tuesday.
Now let's move forward to what are the techniques that are involved in this method. First, we have the dialogue memorization. In this drill, the students have to memorize a short conversation or dialogue between two people. The students will perform the role A and the teacher will perform the role B, and they can change role in order to perform both of them. Alright class, one fine morning, Jack and Jill accidentally met on the road, so the conversation goes on. Hello Jack, hello Jill, how are you? I'm fine thanks, and you? I'm fine too. Where are you going? I am going to the cafeteria. Again? Hello Jack, hello Jill, how are you? I'm fine. And you? I'm fine too. Where are you going? I'm going to the cafeteria. This time, class, I will be taking the role of Jill and you will be taking the role of Jack. Ready? Alright. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Jill.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine, thanks.
And you? Where are you going?
I am going to the cafeteria.
Very good. Alright, class, now this time let's exchange role, meaning to say that you are going to take the role of Jill and I am going to take the role of Jack. Alright, so you need to start the conversation. Okay.
Hi, Jack.
Hello, Jill.
How are you? How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm fine too. Where are you going?
I am going to the cafeteria. Very good, class. Next, we have the backward build-up, or what we called as the expansion drill. This drill is used when a long line of dialogue is giving students troubles. So the teacher needs to break down the line into several parts. And the students repeat a part of the sentence. And if the students have done it good, the teacher will add another word or 2 words of the line for being repeated. Okay, class, repeat after me. Cafeteria.
Cafeteria.
Going to the cafeteria.
Going to the cafeteria.
Very good. And if they made a mispronunciation mistake, the teacher will repeat the word or words in order to give the model to follow. And that process is repeated until the long time and is pronounced in the correct way. Now we have the chain drill. So a chain drill gets its name from the chain of conversation made by the students in the classroom. So the teacher starts the chain. He or she asks something to any students or simply a greeting, and the student has to answer the teacher. And then that student has to turn and ask the student next to him or her. And the chain continues. Hi, I am Kimberly K. Zamora. What is your name?
Hello, Teacher Kim. I am Mary Nova M. Gala. What is your name?
Hello, Marinovim. I am Janine Dacos. What is your name?
Hello, Janine. My name is Lenabel P. Cuerda.
So even though this is a limited and short conversation, it allows to the teacher to check the speech of every single student in the class. So in here, the students form one-by-one conversation, ask and answer question of each other. We have the single slot substitution drill. So the teacher says a line, usually from the dialogue. Then the teacher says a word or a phrase called cue. So, for example, now class, let's have coffee. I'd love a cup of coffee.
I like a cup of coffee.
Tea.
I like a cup of tea.
Of tea. Milk.
I like a cup of milk.
Now class, let's have... So the students have to repeat the part of that dialogue by using the word or phrase that the teacher has given to them in order to recognize where the word or phrase fits in the part of that dialogue.
I like a cup of milk.
Next to that would be the multiple slot substitution drill. So this one is different than the single slot substitution drill because in this one, the teacher gives 2 or 3 words that fit in different parts of the dialogue line. And the students have to recognize which part of the speech fits into the sentence and where to put them. For example, alright class, this time let's have Jack cafeteria. Jack is going to the cafeteria.
Jack is going to the cafeteria.
Jill, market.
Jill is going to the market.
Very good. Another, we have the use of the minimal pairs. So the teacher works with the pairs of words that differ just in one sound. For example, the live and live. So the students are asked to recognize the difference between both sounds and then they are able to repeat them. Now we have the transformational drill. So in here, the students practice to change the sentence pattern. For example, from an affirmative sentence to a negative sentence or even a question. Now class, let's have the subject-verb agreement. Let's say for example, I eat breakfast every day. So can you transform it into he? Your turn. He eats breakfast every day. How about they?
They eat breakfast
They
every day.
eat breakfast every day. Very good. The cat is under the table. Not.
The cat is not under the table.
The cat is under the table. Question.
Is the cat under the table?
Audiolingual method also has certain advantages that are worth the analysis and purpose of this work. So please give me some advantages of audiolingual method. Right, effective to the beginners. Audiolingual method advantage is a very effective to the learners who are beginners in a way that the rare word they may be heard and see will be understood through this method by hearing and speaking of that certain word. Next. Alright, yes, this advantage will give benefits where learners can quickly communicate because of their learnings through using this method. So just like the foreign language where it possessed in this method, they fluently communicate to others specifically in one learners. Alright, listening and speaking skills are emphasized of this method. So from the term audio, listening is emphasized by this. In terms of speaking, it is the skills where teachers use where it can give understanding to the student. Listening and speaking skills are emphasized and learned by this audiolingual method. The next. Alright. Through this method, the pronunciation of a certain word will highlighted by simply listening the uttered word by the teacher using the sound of it. The correct structure in speaking are also highlighted where everyone can remember what the exact pronunciation of a certain word. Alright, it also was the first method to have a theory which is the behaviors theory, where it is based on psychological approach. So where it is an empirically based an approach to the study of a human behavior, where it is external processes where the stimulus cause the change in the behavior of an individual. Next, it made the language learning accessible to large groups of ordinary learners where this will be great because a larger group can make a study under this method where it will be more effective if a teacher will know the techniques on how to teach this audiolingual method to them. So it will be great in a larger group because it will give importance to the two skills where the listening and speaking skills. Yes? Very good! The use of visual aids has proven effective in vocabulary teaching. Yes, this is one of the advantages of audiolingual method. I literally agree of these advantages because through the visual aids, learners can remember to that certain word. There will be a visual aids and of course the vocal voice of the teacher who teaches what the word written in a visual aids. The next one. Alright, audiolingual method developed simple techniques in a way that it is suits to a learner's need and interest. So the separation of the language skills will also highlight with this method. Another one where also learners are able to give correct response directly. So because they already familiarized the certain word or phrases, so learners can fastly give the right response to the other learners. Very good. One of the advantages of audiolingual method is oral training first, then pronunciation training. So this method teaches on what is the best techniques of using this audiolingual to the learners, where the audio must train first before the pronunciation of that certain word. So for example, the learner will try to read the words first, and then after that, that's the time that the teacher will tell the pronunciation of a certain word. So that will be all the advantages of audiolingual method. So we will proceed to the disadvantages of the audiolingual method. So first, alright, disadvantages of the audiolingual method is no creativity, because this method will put to the realization of the learners that it will be okay if they will just repeat and memorize the certain word, and the word they memorize is the word they do not understand and learn. Yes, one of the disadvantages of audiolingual method is it is tedious and boring. It will cause some fatigue. So the techniques used in this method become tedious and boring and causing fatigue, because audiolingual method is quite bored, because it will tackle only the sounds and pronunciation of that certain word. So ang mga bata na maburingan na sa klase kay sige lang sounds Alright, reading and writing are neglected and not treated as independent forms. So yes, the two skills will be neglected and treated as independent forms due to this method audiolingual, where the listening and speaking are highlighted in this method. Very good. One of the disadvantages of audiolingual method is more on teacher-oriented materials, and teacher dominates the class. So, audiolingual method disadvantage is more on teacher-oriented material, and they will be the one who dominates the class. So, by that, student will not be active because their wants will be diminished, because the teacher will be the facilitator of this method. Alright, very good. It will just focusing in the language form and not in a specific meaning of the word you will learn. Alright, the learner have a passive role. So the disadvantage of this audiolingual method, it is where learners put in a passive role. So this one of the disadvantage of audiolingual method, because the learner's role will be passive. So by that, to those learners who want to participate in the class, they don't have the chance to express their wants and what's on their mind, because it is teacher-centered. Students will be locked and active in the classroom. Those are the disadvantages of audiolingual method.